What is up, guys? My name is Brandon and this is DIY Vlogger. In this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a website in HTML and CSS. Now for this first tutorial I'm going to use an example of a nature photography website. So I'm going to go outside and take a few pictures for my website real quick, and then we'll get into the actual tutorial. Alright, so I'm going to head outside and take a few pictures of the, just some trees and plants and stuff, just, whatever I find interesting, so let's go do that now. Alright guys, I just finished taking some pictures, so I'm going to head on inside and take a look, and then I'll get on to showing you guys the tutorial video. And while I'm walking inside, I'm just going to talk to you guys about what I kind of want the website to look like. So I kind of want a big picture over the whole screen, and then over top of the picture will be like a menu bar with like about, contact, and stuff like that. So of course it's locked. And then you'll scroll down and you'll see maybe some smaller pictures and like an about me section at the bottom or something like that. I'm not really exactly sure what I want to make yet, but hopefully it'll be good, hopefully it'll work out, and we'll see.
The sun come up, ganja smoking, we got rum in me cup. Bad girls wind up on the dance floor, all the girls wind up on the dance floor.
Alright, here we are at the desk. So let's start filming. Alright guys, so we are at the computer now, ready to start making our HTML website. So I have created a folder for my website. That's what you're going to want to do. And then I have another folder for all my images that I took to put on my website. And then I have index.html and style.css. I did add a few things really quickly, just to show you guys a few things, as you can see over here on the right. But these are the minimum amount of things you're going to need in this folder. You can add more HTML documents for different pages, like an about page, contact page, anything like that. The index page is always going to be the home page, the main page on your website. So you can open these in any text editor you want, but my preference is to open them in Visual Studio, which I have already done. So here's my style CSS and here's my index.html. And the first things you're going to need to type in for every HTML document is this stuff right here, excluding this right here. So I'm going to explain what these are in a minute, so you can pause the video right now and type this stuff in. So basically, the header is where you're not really going to put much stuff in the header. This is just where your references go to your other style.css documents, and if you want to do JavaScript, that's where all that stuff is going to go. Not really any actual content. You do need to have this doctype HTML header up here. That just tells the web browser that it is an HTML document. And in this, when you type this in link rel style sheet, type everything in as normal, except in this section, this is the path to your style CSS document, so yours is going to be different than this. So if you want to find the path for your style.css document, just click on it, right click, hit properties, and then details, and then the folder path is going to be right here. I guess you can't see the whole thing, but if it shows the whole thing, another way you can get it is by clicking this area right here. This is going to be the path, and then you just need to type in style.css at the end here to add the style.css. So that's how to find your path to put in your header, and you do have to have that because otherwise your HTML document won't know where the style.css document is, and that's what changes the look of an HTML document. So the body is where everything is going to happen. So in the body there's a lot of stuff that you can add. There's tons of stuff. There's I'm just going to put down the different tags, and now if you hear me reference a tag, that's just this, like body is a body tag, header tag. These are all tags, the link tag, doc type tag, all these things are tags. That's just what you call them. And every tag has these little arrows in it. And as you can see, if I click on the body tag, the other body tag will come up. And the way you can tell a tag has a opening and a closing tag. So you can see that the opening body tag is just the two arrows and then the body in the middle. And then the closing tag is always going to have this backslash or forward slash in it. So that's how you're going to differentiate between opening and closing tags. And for the closing tag, you always have to have this slash there. So I'm just going to list out a bunch of different tags that you can use. So the first one that I'm going to go over is the H1 tag. And the H1 is basically, H stands for header, and 1 is just the size of the header. So you can type in the middle of this H1 tag, you can type in whatever you want. I'm going to type in hello world, and if you save this, I'm actually going to put this on one side and then right here. So make sure you're constantly saving your documents so you can see what happens. So if you open your index.html document in your web browser, you can see that we've already got some text hello world here, and that is from this H1 tag. Now if we change this, it goes from H1 to H6. If we change this to say H4, and make sure it automatically does that. So if we change it to an H4 and then we refresh, you can see the text gets smaller, and the smallest size is an H6. So now if we refresh it again, you can see it's very small. So that's the headers, and you won't really use like a 6, 5, and 4 header. You're really mostly going to use a header 1, header 2, and header 3, but you can use header 4, 5, and 6 as well, of course. And then the next tag, I'm just going to switch this to a header 1. And then the next tag is a P tag, and the P stands for paragraph, and paragraph text is just regular sized paragraph text like you would see in a Word document. So of course you can type in again whatever you want in between the closing and opening paragraph tags. So I'm just going to type hello world, my name is Brandon, and save it, and then refresh, and you can see here that it comes up, and it is in blue because I added this earlier. Let me just save this. Okay, so I'm going to go over CSS later. So these are the two main tags that you're going to be using. There's a lot of other ones that I'm going to continue to go over, and if you notice that I have the body tags not on one line, the paragraph tags are all on one line, and so are the H1 tags. You can do it on different lines if you want. You can format it like this. It doesn't matter as long as the text is somewhere in between your H1 tag. And the same thing goes for every tag. You can do it. You can format it however you want. I just like to keep the text tags in one line, and the tags that consist of a bunch of things on 2 lines. It just makes it easier for me to see. So let me just revert this back to how it was. And another tag that I can go over is a div tag, a div, and I'm just going to close that. And a div tag goes around any text, or it can go around any tag. So the div tag encompasses multiple other tags, and the div tag is mainly used. It's actually only used for editing things in CSS. So I'm going to go over this, how to change these in CSS. But right now, if I want to edit this text in CSS, I won't be able to because it's just a div tag. A div needs a class. Now, what is a class, you ask? A class is formatted like this. You put it inside of the div tag. And then a class, you do class equals and then quotations, and then you have to give the class a name. So I'm just going to name this main header. And you don't have to have a dash, you can have spaces as long as you type it in right in the style.css. So this is how a div works, and normally you want to do some indentation of the things that are inside the div. So as you can see, the h1 and the paragraph are inside my div main header. So if we want to edit this text in here, you can go over to style.css and type in .main-header. And then you need to do your curly braces just like this. So type it in just like this, and this is how all of CSS is formatted. So you're going to have your class or your tag right here, followed by 2 curly brackets, and then inside the curly brackets is going to be your formatting tools. So if we want the header as well as the paragraph to be, let's change the color of the text. Now, that's not the background of the text; it's the color of the text itself. So to do that, you have to type in color, and then a colon, and then you can type in whatever color you want. I'm just going to do, let's just do gray. Let's do dim gray. I like this. And there's lots of different colors that you can use. You can use colors that are formatted in different ways. So like you can use a, I believe it's called a hex color, something like that. So if you type a hashtag, if you're in Visual Studio, you'll get this, and it will make a color out of whatever you want. So let's just do like, this color right here, 574C4C, and of course you can use whatever color you want. And if we save this and refresh our web browser, you can see that the text turns a little bit lighter. And also you can tell that this happens to both the header and the paragraph. Now if I change the main header to a H1, then you'll see that it only will apply to the H1. You can't really tell very well, but it does only apply to the H1. Same thing for the paragraph. Just type in P and refresh it, and now the hello world is darker, but I'm going to leave this as .main-header. Now you're probably noticing a few things that I haven't gone over yet, and that is that when I do main header, I add a period before it. Another thing is the colon here and the semicolon, and these are all just formatting things that you have to do for CSS to understand what you're typing. With all of the classes, now remember, we have the div class, main header. Main header is a class. So if you have a class, you have to put dot and then the name of the class before you edit the stuff in the class. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know if it did, but basically when you have a class, just put a period before the name of the class. And with the semicolon and the colon here, or semicolon and colon, this is what you have to do for all of your formatting in CSS. You do the name of the thing you want to edit, and then you do a colon, and then you do what the edit will look like. So that's not really a great example of that, but that's just how you format everything in CSS. So another way you can differentiate between divs is you can do an ID. Now an ID, you just type in ID, div ID, and it's the same thing as a class, except IDs are mainly used for changing only one thing. So like if I had a div class main header, and if I wanted to add another one, let's just copy this. A class is used if you want to use the class multiple times. So let's say I wanted to add 2 main header classes, and I want to change the text a little bit. Let's just say my name is Bob. So this text will appear the same, it will be formatted the same as the other div class because they both have the same name. So classes used when you want to edit multiple things, but you don't want to have everything in one div. So that's what a class is, and an ID is used mainly if you just want to do one thing. Like if you just want to have one main header, you don't want to have any more main headers, you just want one main header, then you would name it as an ID because you know you're not going to use that class anymore. And with an ID, you format it as a hashtag. So you would do hashtag main header. And then you can see that it stays this color. So those are most of the main things. You got the H tag, the P tag, div. Another very important thing is a thing called a UL. A UL is an unordered list. And you can't type, I don't think, you might be able to type in something inside that. Let's see. Yeah, so you can have text in an unordered list, but mostly you don't really do that. You normally just do inside the UL, you put an LI. And an LI stands for list item. And the list item is just a list. Like in Microsoft Word, if you want to make like a bullet list, that's what an LI is. So let's say I wanted to make a like a sidebar menu of like a home page, about page, and contact page. So let's actually start working on the actual website now that I've taught you most of the things, most of the main things you need to know. So I'm going to do like a little menu here. And so to make like a menu, basically what you want to do is inside the LI, just type in home, and then you can add another LI, and you can add another one. I'm just going to have 3, home, about, and contact us. So as you can see, all of these LIs are inside a UL. An LI must go inside an unordered list. And so if we save this and refresh it, you can see that it comes up as a bullet list. You got home, about, and contact. And right now you can't click on them. They're not links. They don't go anywhere. So really quick, I'm going to add another HTML document. So I'm going to add a about.html, and I'll also add a contact.html. So now these are going to be our about pages and contact us pages. And that's how you add new pages for your HTML document. So if we want to make these LIs a list, all we have to do is add another tag inside the LI. Now this is going to be a little confusing first, so first I'm going to show you how to add a link just regular. So to add a link, you do a space href equals and then quotation marks, just like if you're adding an ID or a class. But inside the href, you want to type in the link to your the link to the thing you want to link to. So in this case, it's just a about.html, and since about.html is in the same folder as index.html, we don't need any of this stuff like we had before. We just need about.html. And then you close it, and as you can see, it adds the ending A. Now this is a little bit different than the other tags you've learned about, except for the div. The div is kind of similar. So you have your opening arrow, you got your A, and the A stands for, I believe it stands for, I can't remember, A stands for something, but I can't remember what it does. And then href is just referencing the link, and then you've got a closing arrow, and then you've got your closing tag. And inside the arrows, you can type in what you want the link to appear as. So I'm just going to do about. And if we save it and refresh, you can see that we now have an about that links to our about page. So if we click on it, it will go to our about.html page. So if we want to add a link to our list item, all we have to do is inside the list item make another tag that is an ahref, and then close the a tag. So basically we just do a link but with an li tag encompassing the link. So we have an li and then a link tag and then the text inside the link and then a closing li. And we're just going to do index.html for this one, and it looks like it says missing an end closing angle bracket. It's very strange, shouldn't be missing anything. Okay, let's save this and make sure that it works, because it should. Okay, yeah, so you can see that we have a link now on our home button, and it just links to index.html. So now we can copy this and apply it to our other pages. We can just do about and close the a tag. And then we can do contact and close the a tag. And now you can see that we have, whoops, that is not what I meant to do. And now you can see that we have links on all of our list items. So that is a good starting point for you guys. You can start messing around with this stuff now. I'll get into more of the CSS in the next episode. I really just went into color in this one and how to format the CSS. So next episode I'm going to be going over more of the CSS and how to style your text and images and stuff. I'm also going to be going over how to add images to your HTML documents, and I'm also going to start on making the navigation. So we already kind of have a menu, but I want it to look good, and that is going to be almost completely done in CSS. So that's what I'm going to be going over in the next episode. If you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button. Also subscribe, because I'm going to try to post these videos consistently, but I don't really have a consistent day on which I'm going to post them. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. But other than that guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.